Do you know what? This week's been busy. This week has been busy. I think, starting off, I think, do you know what? This week's been mad, but I haven't really done much. I think I was in London. What day did I go to London? Wednesday. I was there yesterday, Wednesday, and then travelled back yesterday. But you know, when you're just travelling and like even just travelling just takes out you anyway. Like just, you could be travelling for like, the train journey is 3 hours there, 3 hours back. But it's just like a lot of hustle and bustle for 24 hours. Just mad. But yeah, I had a bit of a madness with my hotel actually, because obviously it's paid through work, and it like work just like sort that, and then, do you know what I mean? But when I got there, the guy was like, "Oh, have you got a credit card?" I was like, "Not with me," but so I was like, "Okay." So then he said, "Oh no, we need to take £50 off a credit card for you to stay here, because for like room entertainment or room service and all that." And I was like, "But I'm not getting any of that, so I don't need to do it," sort of thing. He was like, "No, every guest that stays here has to do that. It's just part of our rules." And I was like, "But if I didn't have a credit card and I wanted to stay at the hotel, are you trying to say that I couldn't stay?" So he was doing like this back and forth for a bit. In the end, it was just like, "Look, you can have like a bank card, even though the bank card was old. It was like, it wasn't expired, but I just don't use it. I don't use that account." So I thought if they do any fraud or nothing, then they're just going to get a £0, zero pence. But yeah, I was thinking to myself, like, imagine you got to the hotel, imagine you come from like, I don't know, Sweden, Finland, somewhere, you've just come far, and you get to the hotel and they say, "Oh, we need a credit card," and you haven't got one. And you just like, what do I do? Like, I think it's a mad policy to have, to be fair.
I know why they do it, but yeah, it's just...
What, is it like room damage and stuff like that, in case you damage your room? Or...
I think it's almost like, so they've got a deposit and then you get deposit back. I think that's the effect, and obviously it just means you can't run a mess, and then they're chasing it up and all of that. So, but also, I don't know. It depends on the hotels that you stay in as well. So
it's just like a good brand, like a good chain of hotels. So they weren't like one of them back alley ones or nothing. Like, it was like a chain that I've stayed in before. I was just surprised. I was like, because then he was like, "Oh, it's too much hassle to take it off a bank card." It's like, well, don't have my bank card then. And then like, let's just leave it. Just give me my room number and I'll be on my way. Like, I don't see what this is all about. And I was annoyed because I've been traveling already. Like, I traveled. I got to Euston, got to Earl's Court and all that, done all the tube and everything. I was like, well, I don't need this. Like, it's 6, 7 o'clock at night. I just want to check into my room and just relax. But no, we got it sorted, man. I was just like, "No, you can have a bank card." It's like, "Oh, we don't do bank cards. It takes too much time to put the money back onto it." And I was like, "Well, you're not taking money off it in the first place. So I'm not taking anything out of the room, and I'm not getting it. Like, yeah, like, what's the problem?" But yeah, man, you know them jobs where you just think to yourself, like, just give me my key card, man. I'm tired. You're tired.
Simple transaction, man.
Yeah, man, you got like another 10 hours to go this shift, and I just want to get to bed. Like, what's the problem? But yeah, man, it's mad. But what's your week been saying anyway?
Yeah, man, just trying to think. I was ill, wasn't it? I think I had something similar to what you had a few weeks ago, but I was finished. Even I only really like just started feeling okay the last day or two. Yeah, I was done. I can't even tell you what I've done this week. Probably not much. Like, you know, one of them weeks. So, you know, after after going traveling and then coming back and then
come back.
Yeah, just been around too many different like germs and people sneezing without covering their mouth and thing, and our body just said, "Yeah, allow it." So yeah, man. But no, like outside of that, yeah, all good, man, all good.
Yeah, I say here on that coughing stuff. Like, even on the train. Just people, man. To me, that's basic manners. Like, not even manners, just basic hygiene.
Hygiene, innit?
You know what I'm saying? Not even manners. Like, I'm not asking you to do it to be nice. Just do it so I don't get ill. But yeah, so I literally, as soon as I got up this morning, like I felt ill again. I thought, nah, this can't be happening, man.
Really?
So yeah, I've only just, I've just recovered as well. You see, like how ill I was, and now like I think I've just got like a cough, man. But listen, and now as well, I'm seeing a lot more people post them COVID things again. You know, the test things. I don't know where people are still getting these wrong, because I swear they stopped doing them and they said it was just a regular cold. But I'm seeing people online who post them little white things with the 2 lines, like a pregnancy test thing.
Yeah.
People are starting to post them again, saying, "Oh, I didn't get it for 3 years and now it suddenly got me." And I'm like, you might just have a regular cold like me. But yeah, man, this is why I don't go anywhere. I try not to go out too much, because wherever I go, I tend to find that people aren't as clean as me. And then I come back, I pick up everyone else's germs, and then, do you know what I'm saying? But
No,
yeah,
for
man,
real.
even,
I hear that. I
even,
hear that.
I don't think I've been this ill. Like when I was in school, I never used to get ill because I think, I don't know, man. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older, my immune system's changing that. But when I was in school, like, I never used to get ill at all, man. So anyway, as I got older, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you probably travel more, though, innit? You probably travel more.
I was gonna say, if you're feeling ill today and done that journey, that's just probably what it is, isn't it? Because the same with me. It's traveling to work, getting a tube and all of that. And
Tubes are mad
people are,
as well.
yeah, I know. I don't even. It's long, man. It's long.
Listen, the way that there's two different like separate occasions, and I always find it's either on the Victoria line or the Northern line. More the Victoria line, though. To be fair, I don't know if this is like a common thing in London, but people don't know about space, man. They literally will step on you to get onto the tube. Like they don't care if there's the tiniest of space. They're getting on that tube. You're not telling them no. They're getting on the tube. So I don't know if it's like just the Victoria line or what, but I always find that
south and north Donnies, isn't it? The east to west ones are calm. They got better modes, but
the
north and south Donnies.
Is it districts and circle or whatever it's called?
That district and circle and central line.
That was calm. Yeah. Like I had space. I could sit down if I wanted to, even though I don't. But yeah, man, it was calm. Do you know what I mean? And then I got on that Victoria line. I was just like, nah, you lot need to understand. There's a next one coming in like 2 minutes. Like, please, it's hot down there. We don't need to be on top of each other like this. But yeah, talking about school, yeah, because we were talking offline, innit, about like subjects and stuff. Like, would you redo it? All of that. Good conversation actually, because I would say yes, I would, but I want to hear your thoughts first. Like, what would you do? What would you go back to school and do if you could like change any subject or any like marking, qualification, whatever? Would you change anything?
Yeah, I would.
But you said that with like the way you said that. Like, you know that you popped up at some point in school, innit?
Do you know what it is? I did, and I didn't. Like, I chose safe subjects. So I chose subjects I knew I'd do well in and kind of enjoyed, but I didn't take any risks. So I'm happy with the subjects that I chose, but there's some other subjects that were kind of pointless that you did it because of the school politics. Like, with no disrespect, I feel like this is an important subject, but I don't think it was necessary to do it. And that was like religious studies. It would have been, in my school, we had to do it, whereas it would have been good to have had the option to either do it or, so I haven't had no formal IT education. I think I did half a year in year 8 and that's it. So everything I learned with IT, I had to learn myself. So it would have been useful to have that. Or the subject I probably, in hindsight, would have liked to have done was 2, actually. One doesn't exist and one does. Economics, I don't know why we didn't have that in school. That would have been sick.
We had it in our school, though. I don't think that was in our school.
I don't know if that would be the equivalent of business studies. I don't know if it's one and the same was a bit different. Yeah.
We had that.
And then probably, I'd say geography. I feel like that would have been a good one. You know, like I wouldn't have used it, but it would have been good to have the knowledge of a lot of things because my geography comes from football. Like I'm sure a lot of other people that watch football, I know what the capital of Hungary is because of football. Or I know about 18 different villages of France because of the Champions League.
You would not know about Azerbaijan if it wasn't for football.
100%. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So, I know how to pronounce, Adrian Ilia from Romania because of football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right, 100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, probably the one that exists, probably geography, to be fair, but economics would have been a sick one. So that was my huff in it, my sigh. But what about you, cuz?
I don't know. Like, I think I wanted to do geography. I remember I wanted to do it, but the teacher was a bit mad. Like, so I didn't do that. I get the religious studies thing. I did it, but I wasn't happy doing it. Do you know what I mean? Because I knew I probably because I'm just not heavily invested as some other people would be in that. But for me, the one that I regret, I'm sure I might have spoke about this on here or spoke offline, but it was science. I'd love to go back. I had to redo science because when I done my electrical engineering, obviously you can't do that without a science thing, a science marking. And I think it's like, I don't think a C is even good enough. I think it has to be like a B or an A or whatever they call it now. So I think it's changed now, isn't it? But yeah, I had to redo all that. And I'm sure I spoke about this on here, but I missed the paper in my original like sitting, like my original GCSEs because I slept in. So I didn't. Yeah. So I didn't get like an official marking anyway when I officially did it. I had to read because it was 3 papers. There was I can't remember how to split, but it was definitely 3 papers. I've done 2 and I missed 1. I feel like it was the biology.
So that murdered the whole thing.
Yeah, I think I got a U because basically I think I got a U or I got a mad thing. I had to redo the whole thing because obviously you want to do electrical engineering. That's a massive part of it is science and maths. And yeah, so for me, I would definitely go back and do that because trying to do that when you're working, like I was still trying to find my feet. I was only like mid-20s when I had to reset it. Working, I think I was even a dad then as well. So I was juggling all these things. I was working. I was doing the science thing, still learning about the electrical engineering, even though I wasn't on that course yet. Just trying to get like ahead of the game. So a lot of that, I think I could have avoided if I just sat. Not even if I sat, if I just woke up on time and done the actual thing. Because I think I've done okay in the other 2 papers, but that 3rd paper missing it just voided everything that I'd done. And all my coursework as well. All of that was just void. So that would be
that
one.
Coursework wasn't a joke as well. I mean, that was long.
Do they still do that now as well? Do they still do coursework? That's a madness. They don't.
Do you know what's mad? I don't even know. Do they still even like handwrite tests anymore? Like I don't know how that system works anymore. It feels like so long ago. Yeah.
It's not. I think.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say. I think it's like it's hard because I think a lot of the subjects I've done, I was happy that I'd done them. Maybe another language. Like I'd done French and I learned a bit of Spanish, but I'd love to have learned like something different as well. I don't know. Like I think at one point we were offering German, but that was like for the year 11s that were there. So when I was year 7, they got rid of German and they just focused on Spanish and French or Latin. Sorry, they did Latin in our school as well. But obviously, so it's kind of like a redundant thing to know now. But yeah, I think another language. I'd love to have learned something else as well.
That's a good point, actually, because thinking of like redos specifically. So I did French for 2 years, but we had to, because there wasn't enough time on a timetable, it was like an extra thing. So I had to come in early to do it. So I kind of just resented it. So just wasn't on it. But yeah, it's just, because obviously, I'm sure it was like the same with you. Like in the mornings, I'll come in early to play football, literally until the bell, and then go in. So it just meant I couldn't do that, I think, for 1 or 2 days a week. So it was just long. But I wish, like, same with you, I wish I would have paid more attention to that or at least carried it on a bit. Because obviously nowadays, we didn't get to do Spanish in our school, actually. We had German or French.
Yeah, Spanish, man. I never done it, though. I wish I did, but I never did it. I chose French. Like I did Spanish, then dropped out of Spanish to do French, like concentrate just on French for GCSE. There's a story that I can't say on here, but there's a reason why I chose French over Spanish. I don't want to heart up anything, but yeah. And to be fair, I eventually enjoyed French more than Spanish. But yeah, obviously, like it was them times as well. Though I think it was. Do you know what I think about school? I think it was hard because, like, it was so. Looking back, if I just focused every single day in school and didn't get distracted, I think I would have like enjoyed school a lot more, and I think I potentially would have done better as well in a lot of the things that I did go on to choose as like as GCSEs. But I don't know what school's like now, but back then there was way too many distractions in school, whether it was just like boys or girls or a mixture of the two, or just some certain times I think you just didn't really focus enough in school. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's probably got worse now. I think probably now, I think now, put it like this, okay? I've just been to a school assembly this morning for like my own kids, And even the format of the assembly, it was good, like in terms of what they were doing, but like they had like like Bruno Mars playing when they come into the assembly, and it's just mad. Like I was saying, like, is this what school's like now? Like you've got like
the entrance music, like
yeah,
Rocky or like wrestling.
We could not talk coming into assembly.
Yeah,
You know
silent
like,
thing.
we had to come in, sit down, cross our legs. That was it. You know what I'm saying? Now they've got like, it's almost like a party atmosphere, and I think it could be good. Maybe it's good for the kids. Maybe that keeps them on track and they get a bit of fun on a Friday. But yeah, I'd love to go into a school now, even my own school that I went, like my senior school, and see how things are changing or how they've changed since I was there. Because I think a lot of it for me, what I probably didn't do as well, and I had to do a lot of research, was because I was always not always distracted, but there was a lot of distractions, or football was a big thing for me. So I'd rather be like focusing on the game that I've got at like 4 o'clock against another school than actually doing my work. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things, man. But what do you think? Do you think distractions probably played into a part of schooling, like in terms of just your overall schooling, not in terms of like your GCSEs, but just your schooling overall?
Yeah, there are a lot of distractions. So, you know, for me, I went to a boys' school, so I think because there was distractions outside of school, it made you want to not even be in school quite often for like lots of different reasons. So there was that. Football was a big one, so whether that's playing for the school teams or just playing before school, after school, lunchtime. I played rugby as well, so that was always during school hours. Yeah. The first 2 years, maybe.
Oh,
first 2 years. Yeah. We were good. We got to the national finals, and we either won or drew. I can't remember. But then we got to like another tournament where we played like teams from Germany and France, and we lost. I think went to like a mini group tournament, and we just weren't performed on the day. But the winners got to play at Twickenham before. I think it was Army versus Navy, and that was we got to go and watch the game. But it would have been nice. It would have been sick. Like, I think it was about 12. It would have been sick to have played there.
Yeah, that's mad. I didn't know that.
Yeah. There you go. Learn something new all the time, innit?
Something new. But yeah, there was a lot of distractions, and then even if you think about the generation that we grew up in, so obviously football was a big thing, music, like it was the birth of grime, pretty much. The kind of the end of the garage, not end of the garage period, but you know what I mean, that transition. Where So there was that. So that was getting big. Like you had the phones where you could start recording on them in terms of cameras, audios, and then games, innit? Like we completely forgot it was the beginning of the kind of peak era for games, so to speak, for people that played like console games. So yeah, like only people that didn't come to school because they're banging Final Fantasy VII like for the whole day. Like you go check them after school, and like they're just in the dark, like playing games, just sitting around like a packet of crisp, like 5 packets of crisp, bottle of Coke or whatever. Yeah, no, you're right, man. I think for me as well, I agree with you. I think there was so many distractions, and I think I was just heavily invested into football then, like massively, like to the point where that and track and field, like athletics. But then that was like my life, like even outside of school. So if I had a game on like a Saturday and it was Friday, there was no chance you were getting work out of me because I knew that I had a big game on Saturday and my head was already on Saturday. Or if I had
focused,
like, if I had like 100 meters on a Thursday, or I think we used to do Tuesday, Thursday, if I was doing that and I've got like history in the afternoon, double history, but you think I'm going to sit there and listen about Henry VIII again? Or think about me winning the race. No, I'm going to be thinking about winning the race. So, looking back, I think there was so many things that I should have done better for myself, just because it's easier having to do resets or pay for your resets or pay for this course or pay for that when all of it's free when you're under 16 or whatever.
That's the thing as well. Like it's the hindsight of the challenge that comes up with redoing it like later on. But to be fair, this is what I wanted to ask actually, because I didn't even realize you had to redo a few of them things. But do you think when you did the redos, regardless of whatever else was going on in your life, do you feel you were at a better headspace to absorb the information and like engage with it more, like not enjoy it more, but appreciate it more?
A little bit, because I think as well, I knew I had to pass like my science to do what I wanted to do in it, like the engineering side of it. So I had to be fully invested into it. I couldn't like turn up and be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll just do it just to get the mark and go home. I had to be fully invested into it. And then I think when you're older, you kind of appreciate things more anyway. Like there's less distractions anyway, or your distractions have changed onto more adult like stuff in terms of providing for someone or going out to work or whatever. So I think you just mature because you're mature a bit more. Your whole mindset is different as opposed to like chasing girls around or trying to get this one to talk to this one or whatever. You're not doing that. You're just like, right, I've got to focus on this. I've got to get this in. This is my deadline. This is what I've got to do. And I feel sometimes as well that schools, maybe not schools, maybe like uni or college, you should take that year out or that like take 2 years out, then go to uni. I think we spoke about this on here as well.
Yeah.
You should do that because at some point you're going to want that little party life to carry on a bit. You know, like when you finish school, year 11, you're going to want to carry on that sort of pissing around kind of mentality for a bit longer before you actually want to sit down and study. So I think looking back, I was kind of glad that I went to work for a bit. I did like an apprenticeship, all of that. And then I thought, right now, I need to actually get like some kind of like proper qualification that if my this situation that I'm trying to get in like an apprenticeship doesn't work, I've got this to fall back on. Even now, in the job that I'm in now, if they said tomorrow, right, everyone, you ain't got a job, at least I can go, right, okay, I've got that qualification. I'm going to try and make something with it, at least. So, yeah, I think as you get older, your mind just changes, isn't it? Like mentally, you're just like, you're not looking to chase around loads of girls and do all that stupid things. You're actually focused on trying to do something, man. But what do you think? Do you think it's like, as you get older, like mentally, obviously, like maturity comes with that. Do you reckon that like helps you in terms of, because you went to uni as well, so do you feel that like what you learned in school and what you probably did or didn't do in school, do you think that set you up proper for like uni?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's kind of similar to what you were saying. So as I've gotten older and done different courses and that, each time when I've done it, I've just been a lot more focused. I think one, because like you say with yours, there's some relevance to it. So it wasn't, I'm just in design and technology, sewing a waistcoat together because I have to, it was more, it's focused on obviously what I wanted to work on. I think as well, just working. So I worked, when I started working, like when I was about 17, I was working alongside studying, and then I did some work and then went back to uni, etc. So doing that helped quite a bit because, of course, you've gone into the work world, you come back, you can appreciate not having to study when you're working and not having to work as much when you're studying. And I noticed that on one of the courses I did, when there's quite a few people that had gone straight from 3 years of uni into, a post-grad course or master's or whatever, they were just stressing out, and there was just that level of panic. Whereas I was like, this isn't really comparable to when you're working. You got deadlines and people stressing you out, and like the threat of being sacked because you ain't met targets and things like that. So in comparison, doing the uni stuff wasn't that bad. So I think that's when I noticed my mindset was a bit different and a bit more focused, and it made me think. Yeah, like you're saying, like the languages. If I'd had this mindset when I was learning like French or German, I'd be fluent now. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my thoughts anyway on that.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like, it's mad when you think back, man. I was thinking the other day as well, just like jogged the memory for me. But I was thinking about in terms of how long ago we left school. I was trying to work this out. I can't remember why we was talking about it in work the other day. I'll tell you why I was talking about yesterday. It was remember Brojan, is that his name, from Barca?
Oh yeah.
So he's retired. So he's retired from football. So I've seen his whole career from start to end. The new Messi that they dubbed him. I've seen his whole career, not just his, other people's, like Theo Walcott, for instance. I've seen him from Southampton as a baby, go all the way to Arsenal, go through all that stuff, and then come back to Southampton. And I'm seeing him score like goals against Spurs, but he looks like Theo Walcott, like the adult now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was thinking, raw. So I think I left school. I think I left school might have been like 2002.
Bruh.
I think it was 2002, something like that. So I was thinking, I left school 21 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, how mad does that sound? It sounds mad, doesn't it? I've been on this earth longer out of school now, I think, nearly, or have I, or close to.
The man like Saka.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? When you put it like that, it's mad, isn't it? Like, you think how long, like, because you can't be far behind me then. You must be like 2004 maybe or something.
Yeah, 2004. That's when I finished school.
Yeah. So, like, you think, like, you're coming up to, like, your, like, next year's your, like, 20th anniversary of leaving school. Do you know how mad that is?
I thought this is going to be a happy conversation. But
listen, that's what I'm saying, isn't it? Like, it is.
Yeah, it's true.
Think about what you've done in them 20 years. That's what I'm saying. Like, even looking back now, even if you did reset certain things, I think you still carved out a lane for yourself, innit? Do you know what I mean? And you've done what you want to do. So I think it's one of them, innit? I think hindsight is beautiful, man. I think if you could go back and change things, but man.
Yeah, no regrets. I've got a quick story actually. You reminded me of something earlier when he was talking about when you slept in and you missed the exam. So it's not actually me, it's my brethren. So I think it must have been in sixth form. So I think I was in college, but I think he had a couple of resets to do. So I went to go check in one of the mornings when I started in the afternoon, and I was just chilling. I think he was just getting out of bed. Like, it must have been about 10, 11 o'clock. So I was looking at his timetable and I said, "Hey, ain't you got an exam today?" And he was like, "What day is it?" And I was like, "Yes, it's like, it's the 23rd or whatever." And he's like, "Oh yeah." So I quickly followed him to school because I had to catch up with him about something. So I followed him to the school where the resit was, and then he just kind of ran in there and obviously tried to do it. When I left, I got on a bus, and the bus was packed. And I had our hands free, like this kind of thing, yeah? And as someone got on the bus, when we were all squashed together, they pushed the thing, and it pushed the button. And the button called the last person that you called. So it called my brethren. His phone went off in the exam.
Oh, shit.
And then he got kicked out.
Yeah. So
I couldn't get...
You fucked up his exam for him?
Yeah, I couldn't get to the phone to switch it off. I think I was listening to music or something. Yeah, I felt so bad for years.
That is mad.
Yeah.
I forgot about the rules as well. I forgot all the rules that you can't... I don't think we could have phones in there. I think we used to have to put them in a locker or something.
Leave them in a bucket or put them away.
They'd like a box or something.
Yeah, I felt bad. Mad. So it's mad that I alerted him to the fact that he had the exam that he was going to miss, but then for the reason he got kicked out. It was just waste of time, but it was redundant. But
Did you speak after that? Do you speak to him now?
Yeah, we're still good friends and that. But
I'll voodoo doll for you somewhere. I'm telling you, man.
them days and have a bad day in it. It's him. It's just waiting.
Man, I'm telling you, it's mad. That is absolutely mad. Speaking of, we were speaking about Bluetooth before, man, and we were talking about like social media. And like parents and how their role in social media and all that sort of stuff, man. And it's mad because I was having a conversation with like on one of my group chats this morning, like a separate conversation. I wouldn't even want to bring it up because I don't want us to get like cancelled or nothing. But it kind of was along the lines of like how society is now and what do we deem as like normal and acceptable and all these kind of things and how they're trying to push, like but like how certain groups of people are trying to push through like a particular narrative and all that kind of stuff. And it got me thinking, like, obviously social media is a massive, massive, massive driver for a lot of things. Do you get what I'm saying? Like in terms of what we see, our perception of things, all of that stuff as well. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What level? Because obviously certain kids, when they get to a certain age, they're not even listening, not all kids, but some kids ain't even listening to their mum and dad. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you can get to like 13, 14. If you tell your child, oh, you can't have TikTok, or you can't have Snapchat, or you can't have this social media, they're going to find a way to get it, or they're going to get a burner phone that their mum don't know about or whatever. What role do you think parents have to play
Mm.
in making sure that their kids are safeguarded on like socials and stuff like that?
I think it's like twofold. It's educating the children and educating themselves. So you can't stop it. Do you know what I mean? And we know this anyway. And it's ironic because talking before about distractions at school, and I remember one of the distractions, as I was saying, was games. And I remember going to one of my brethren's house when he got PS2. He's the only one that had a PS2, and he had GTA 3. Do you remember when it first came out? And we're all around there playing it. Like, I was about 12, 13 years old. It's going to happen. You'll find a way. Unless you're there with them all the time. And at that age, it ain't healthy to be doing that. So I think it is about providing education and openness about a bit of an extent of what's out there, dangers of it, and making informed choices. Not necessarily sharing everything, but just saying, look, this is what's there. This is what you can use it for. These, there are bad things out there that are dangerous. There are people out there. This is, if you find yourself in a situation, this is what you need to do, and come and talk to me or talk to a teacher. Do you know what I mean? Like almost like a safety plan, because kids are kids. We were all mischievous. We all did things our parents told us not to do. But also I think it's about the parents also being fully aware of what's out there. And you don't need to have a TikTok account and know how it works to its fullest, but you do need to understand, I think to a level, probably how it works a little bit at least, and talk to other people that know it. And again, about the dangers and what to do and signs to look out for. So I think those are the two key things, the education side. Because if you do that, you minimize the risk. You can't eliminate it, but you can minimize it. And even if the worst thing is on the verge of happening or is happening, you can act on it quick and manage it. Do you know what I mean? That's my thoughts anyway on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. I think it's, in some ways, I think it's difficult because, like I said, I think kids will always find a way to make sure that whatever they want to see, and the internet's too accessible now. Like you can think, you can watch the internet on your TV. Do you know what I mean? Like you can watch anything you want on like a smart TV, mobile, iPads, Xbox, PlayStation, literally everything has access to the internet now. Whereas like we said before, when we were growing up, it was like the introduction of like Bluetooth, or where you could like record things. It was all simple. Like we had Snake, like Nokia 3310. That was it. Whereas now, and I find that kids, even said before going to the school assembly this morning, there was kids in like it would have been year 6 or below, had mobiles. So like what? And I get why, because obviously if you're sending your child to school, you want to make sure they get there okay. You want to make sure that they get home okay, or whatever. If you're allowing them to like do the short journey, if they're like round the corner or whatever. But I think parents have to make sure that, like, I don't know, I feel like they have to make sure that they've got a role to play. Do you get what I'm saying? That they make sure that they have, like, I don't know, there's apps that you can have to make sure you can see what your child's viewing, or you can make sure that you're having the same access to their accounts. But again, they could set up an additional account on a burner phone again. So I think there's only so much you can do as a parent. But I do think parents have a big responsibility as well, because a lot of parents introduce a lot of these things to their kids. And the only reason they know about them is because their parents are doing it. Like the amount of people I see like watching TikToks now, and they're like, oh yeah, and then the kids probably sat right next to them. So that everything, if they're hearing like swearing, or they're hearing whatever, it's like some sort of like nudity or sexual kind of TikTok, whatever it is, if they're sat next to them seeing that, the parents are probably like, oh yeah, you can see it. Like if the parents are allowing them to see it, then the parents don't have an issue. The kid being able to get their own account and do the same thing, in my eyes anyway. Because I don't watch like TV, or I don't watch things on social media that people send me. Like I know that our group chat's okay, but there's certain group chats I'm in, I know there's no way I'm opening these like WhatsApps in front of anyone, not even in front of adults, because I just don't know what I'm opening. Do you know what I mean? So I need to like filter it first to make sure that I like safeguard myself, to make sure that Do you know what I mean? I'm not around people and I open it. But I think it's a difficult one because, like for me, internet's too open. Like you could go on Twitter now and you could probably see some madness on there, like from minimal stuff to proper mad stuff. Like things I've seen on Twitter, I don't know, not even just Twitter, I don't want to just, but social media. Some of the things I've seen on there, like I've seen people die, like literally, I'm not
You
even
can
laughing.
find anything
like,
on social
I've
media.
seen
Yeah.
people live stream die on social media. That's mad. Like, what kind of madness? And like, that's just open for everyone, like any age group to see. There's no like, click this if you're 18 or, do you know what I mean? Put this date of birth in to make sure you're 18. There's none of that. You just sign up and you can watch a man die live on Facebook. So I think there's a lot that the companies need to do as well.
Yeah, but they just want the traffic, though, innit? So they can get their P's. You know what I mean?
There's a country that's banned TikTok. Is it China?
Probably.
I'm sure China.
They ban a lot of it because there's a WhatsApp you can't get there as well, and Facebook.
Yeah. I think it's China or it's a country.
Or it might be Korea. I know it's a country that part of the world.
Yeah, it's a country that direction. They've stopped it. And I think over here, I know like civil servants aren't allowed it on their like work phones now. TikTok is the worst one. I'll be honest. I don't have one.
Why do you think it's the worst?
I think it's an addiction. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I think maybe I'm just using that because I don't like it. But I think TikTok for me, because they're all short, what are they, like 15-second clip videos or whatever. So when you swipe on one, is it you swipe? I don't know. When you swipe, whatever, I'm not sure. But I think if you swipe,
remember, I didn't even get as far as Snapchat. So
yeah, it's true, man. You've only just got. In fact, you've not got an iPhone anymore. I think you changed back to.
No, I've gone back to the Droid.
We'll talk about it offline. But yeah, I think you swipe on TikTok. So if you do, you only have to watch one, and then you're watching another one, then you're watching another one, then you're watching another one, and you could probably spend 3 or 4 hours. Most people probably spend average. I'd love to see it, but I bet the most people spend like at least 20 hours a week on TikTok. That's 5 hours a day. That's not including Saturday and Sunday. That's just midday, like midweek.
That's crazy.
5 hours. I guarantee you there's people that are spending 5 hours. And then if they're doing it, imagine their kids are doing it twice as much because they're probably doing it in school when they should be learning. And then they're doing it when they come home as well. So a lot of it's like, for me, is addiction. And if you can't handle addictions well, talking gambling, alcohol, whatever, social media is another way, like another form of addiction to me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like do you take breaks like from social media?
Yeah. Like quite often, you know, because it's funny you say addiction because it creeps up on you as well. It's not like you think, oh, I'm addicted. It's just you're just on stuff all the time. So, you know, you might post something and you're like, oh, I wonder if anyone's seen it, and you send it to a few people and all of that. Whereas now, you know me anyway, I really like Twitter, I'm really on Instagram. Usually I'll go on there if someone sent me something, or I've got a few people that I just speak to on Instagram, for example, like people that I used to work with that are abroad, or if, you know, I've got like work a lot of therapists, and they might have a page on there. I'll do some like videos and stuff, so I'll just watch it to support them. But yeah, I think you have to take breaks because it's just it's a weird reality that exists but doesn't really exist. And it stops you from being a real person in the real world if you're too, like 20 hours a week is a ridiculous amount of time to be in this virtual world where you're not actually, I don't even think they should call it social media anymore, because you're not being social. You're just sending stuff into like I don't want to say metaverse, but just out there. And it's just there, but you're not actually engaging or interacting that much. Even if like you might like something, but you're not interacting. You're just hitting a button. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I don't know, like if the conversation we had last week about Porto, it's not me posting a picture and you like it, and that's me saying, oh, it was like this, like the food was like that. You're asking me questions. Do you know what I mean? It's a proper interaction. So yeah, I think 100%. Like I say I take breaks from it. I take breaks to go back onto it for a bit and then jump off. But I think the breaks are important because that lets you know if you're getting addicted or not. If it's if you're becoming too reliant on it as part of your daily routine, which is just not healthy for your brain anyway.
Well, I think people are. I think people are beyond like that kind of. I think you hit the nail on the head. People don't see it as an addiction. Do you get what I'm saying? Like people just see it as part of their day. But sometimes even, okay, prime example, when I was coming back to Houston yesterday, the amount of people, I don't really tend to go on my phone anyway when I'm out and
It's
about.
like this, isn't it?
Yeah, my phone's in my pocket. I got my headphones in, and then if I need to change my song or whatever, I'll just take it out and then put it back. But the amount of people, and I'm not saying people should talk on the tube or nothing like that, like talk to strangers. I'm not saying that, but just everywhere you go, like whoever's listening to this now, if you're in a public place, just lock up and just see how many people are just sat on their phones, probably with someone else, and they're not
just
really
scrolling
interacting with
aimlessly.
and it's mad. Like I think it's become like a big addiction of people, and they just don't see it as an addiction. They just because it's not harming them, like in a physical way that they can see that's obvious. It's more of like a mental thing, like in your mind or whatever. They don't see it as like they don't see it as like an illness or nothing. But I guarantee you, in about 10 years, there's going to be people coming saying like, I've got a mad addiction to social media. I guarantee you, like it's not big now. 10 years, there's going to be people having to go and get like therapy because they've either seen too much madness on the internet or they just can't detach that isn't real life to an extent, and that there's actual, when they step out their front door, there's an actual real life. And I see it with people now, they can't communicate with people face to face anymore, probably because of COVID, but more so because they don't actually talk to people. They just talk like through a phone, and I don't mean like this, like virtual, like doing podcasts virtually. I'm talking like you said, they just click a little like, or they give a little thumbs up emoji, or they just put an emoji on something, but it's not actual talking. They don't talk. So when they've got to talk to someone in real life, they struggle.
It's a big thing. Yeah. No, it's true. And because I know there's a lot of research at the moment that's going on, and I'm sure one of the big ones that's going to be happening is like degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and things like that, where, of course, if you aren't fully utilizing your whole brain, the connections in your brain start to shut down. So if you're just on social media all the time doing the same things, you're not doing other things like getting out and exercising different parts of your brain is going to not function well. And then later down the line, you're going to have, because that's it, because don't get me wrong, like I'm not, like, might feel like I'm bashing social media. I understand where it's helpful, and I know, like for me, I like to connect with people, particularly that don't live close to me or that don't live in the UK. Like I like it for that. But if you're using it to that extent all the time, your concentration is going to be finished. Like if that's how quickly your brain is switching from one thing to another, you're not going to be able to sustain any concentration. Then later in life, when your brain is struggling because your body can't keep up with how quickly your brain is moving, you're going to have issues. So, but I'd be surprised, like you said, if there's not more about addictions in the next 10 years, about people like, I don't know, maybe having Alzheimer's and things like that, memory issues, because because of the job I do, like I love the brain, and I think the brain is fascinating, but we just underuse it so much that it's a shame.
It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. I think just like in terms of like the parent side of it, like their responsibility, like it's mad because there's so many different like rings. When I say rings, I mean like grooming gangs, or like there's like a paedophilia gang on the internet as well. Like there's so many of these like rings and groups and gangs or whatever, and they're just out there. They're not hidden. They're just honestly, if you go on, I remember a couple of years ago, like I can't remember, there's a woman and she's like trying to expose loads of them on social media, and they're just out in their bio. They say like this and this. I'm not going to repeat what they say,
like
but
their beliefs and
they let you know that like what they're interested in. They might say, oh, not in that way, but we do like them. We look at them, or we'll post pictures of them. They'll say all on their bio as like a disclaimer, but they're out there, and they're out there for people to see. And what worries me about TikTok as well is, and again, I don't use it, so I only see it like second hand or third hand. But when I see it, there's like young girls on there, or there's girls that clearly are not the age that they're trying to portray on the TikToks. Do you get what I'm saying? And their mum and dads don't know about what they're doing. And it's a classic video of like these two girls, I think they're in America, and they're recording something for TikTok or whatever, and the mum comes in while they're recording, and she just beats them. Like I'm not condoning violence.
I've seen a video.
I'm not condoning the violence or nothing, but just the fact that like she comes in and she's on stuff. The mum, she knows what's happening, she knows where it's gonna go, and she's like, "Nah, we're not doing that.
We don't do that in this house."
Yeah. So I like that, not the violent part, but the fact that the mum shut it down. There's other ways to shut things down, but you know what I'm saying, that was her way of doing it. But you have to do that with your kids. You have to make sure that you're on top of them all the time. Even when they're adults, you have to be on top of them, because there's too many like mad people. There's too many people out there that are just making these mad burner accounts, no faces, like no real image, just like a weird cartoon image, or there's loads of them out there. And they are literally like trying to get as much information out of these young kids and groom them and befriend them and all of that through all these other social medias, man. So parents have a massive role, and I'm always a big believer, don't have your kids on iPads in separate rooms, or you know, if they're doing homework on an iPad or a PC or whatever, either have it in the main room where everyone can see, or you sit with them while they're doing it, and that's the only time that they need to use the device, whether it's a PC or whatever. You should never leave. I don't believe in leaving your kids to just sit there with whatever device it is in a room, and you're sat downstairs watching, flipping, I don't know, the Kardashians or whatever downstairs or in another room, and your kid's being groomed in another room. It doesn't make any sense to me. So
you know what? It's that old school parenting, innit? To spend time with your kids.
Yeah. Goes back to that talking thing though, because I think we're in the age now where parents are getting younger, so people having kids a lot younger, so they're kind of growing up with their kids as well, and they're like this new era, this new like wave of mums and dads. It's all about social media. Do you get what I'm saying? And some kids are being born into that, like they're being born to be like YouTube stars or Instagrammers or TikTokers, so they can't really get away from it because their mums or dads are in it. So there's in line, man. And yeah, I'm just not with all that, man. Not with all that at all. I just think, look after your kids, communicate with them like you said, and yeah, let them have fun on like iPads and whatever, but make sure you know what they're on. Do you get what I'm saying? Because even sorry, YouTube Kids, I've got to say this, even on YouTube Kids about 2 years ago, there was like some channel on there, like one of the channels in YouTube Kids, and it was like a pedophile group, and they were like they were uploading stuff there that wasn't obviously being regulated by YouTube. It was nuts. Like I can't remember what the videos were. Obviously, I didn't get to see them all, but there was like mad videos on there, or scary things, like they'd put like a dead body in between like a random clip. Do you know what I'm saying?
Is that part of the just the woman? Is it Momo or whatever? The weird woman with the dark hair, the big eyes, and the big mouth, and
I think it was all that. It was all linked into that.
Yeah.
And like you just be watching Blippy or whatever your kids watch, and it just randomly come up on the screen, and then it'll come off again. Like raw, like so. You gotta watch what your kids are watching, and you gotta be careful what they're doing on socials, man, because it is not the World Wide Web; it's the weird wide web now.
And you know what I'm saying? Bring back VHSs, Barney and Thomas the Tank Engine, and them, man.
All the way back. So, some people listen to this. I told you we're old now. Some people don't even know what VHS stands for. You know what I'm saying? DVDs is probably where they are. So, did you hear about, or did you see? I suppose you did. Obviously, it was United game, but the Mitrovic stuff, man.
Yeah. So, because like obviously, I message you, but when I messaged, it was more. I was thinking about what actually happened versus, because I've read that outrage, and when I was reading it, I thought like he punched up the ref or something, and it was like, I think there's a difference between, because people like to connect lots of different ideas. So he's broken the law, Yeah, just for anyone that hasn't seen, Man United were playing Fulham in the football. What is it? I think Fulham, Man United get a penalty. One of the Fulham players gets sent off. Then one of the other Fulham players just tugs at the referee's arm, just gently. It's not even like a big tug. It's just, he just pulls at his arm. You ain't allowed to do that. So he gets sent off. Then all of a sudden, I'm hearing, like 10-game ban and it's a bad role model to the kids and all of that. And I'm thinking, but hold on a second. Hold on a second.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this, but go on.
Yeah, I had to watch it because I was thinking, okay, like, do you remember the one Paolo Di Canio against Sheffield Wednesday where he pushes the referee and he does that dramatic fall on the floor and starts crawling? That was bad. Do you know what I mean? But I see much worse, and it's like, yeah, and he is a bit of a hothead, yeah, but I'm just looking at the incident in isolation and thinking, if a child sees that, firstly, going back to what we were talking about before, I'm just going to say to the child, okay, like you got sent off, yeah, like we don't do that. That's not on. But also, yeah, like it was a little tug. He's not even bruised the guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was what I saw. But because I think you watched the game, I just saw the highlights. So what was your take on it?
I kind of get what you're saying actually, but I think in real time, well, first of all, the sending off was nuts for Willian. Like Willian should not. Willian as well is at fault for that counter attack. Let's have that right first.
Let's go all the way back.
All the way back to that. Yeah, because at that point, yeah, I don't know what he's trying to do. I think it's just before the halfway line, and I can't remember who knocks it past him, but he tries to like do like a weird like flick with the ball when all he has to do really is just put your body in front of the ball to stop it from going past you. That's it. But he doesn't do that. Then he chases back to try and redeem the fact that he's just messed up, handballs it. So that's a red card. Marco Silva, his red card is mad because it's a penalty. So what are you arguing with the ref for? You don't need to argue with him. It's a penalty. That's it. Just take the penalty.
Just take the L, innit? Not even an L.
At that point, it's still 1-1. So they can still win the game because it's still if that happens and Marco Silva stays on, I don't even think this Mitrovic thing happens. I think he gets rolled up because he's seen Willian get a red card, Marco Silva get the red card, and then Mitrovic has then gone to the ref and said something. Now I think the ref overreacts because the ref could just say, "Look, that's my decision. It's final. End of. Go away." He doesn't. Yeah, I know it kind of like drags him a little bit, and then I think he got sent off more so because he squared up to him afterwards as well. I think that was like the bit where people are like, "Oh, it's mad," but look, I've seen tackles, yeah, and I can't remember what podcast I was on, and I think I was talking about João Felix on Ricardo tackled João Felix in the Chelsea-Leicester game, and I think there was the same tackle in it might have been the United game, the Casemiro one. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And I said to someone, if I'd done that to someone on a night out or just walking down the street, I'm sure they would call the police. They would, right? But on the football field, it's okay. I think with this Mitrovic thing, I don't think it's a 10-match ban. I just think it's one of them where he's lost his cool. You got to remember, we're going back to the days where Eric Cantona fly kicks someone in the chest. Yeah. Right? I've seen Lee Bowyer and Kieren Dyer punch each other up on the pitch. Like I've seen before this little scuffle with the ref. So that's nothing really in comparison to things. Should he have done it? No. Are footballers role models? No. I don't know any footballer to me that I say to my son, "Oh, look, he's a role model for you. Make sure you." Yeah, I might say
behave like him, innit? That's the template. Yeah,
I might say to him, "Yeah, look at how he plays football, and that's your role model in terms of football." But in society, no way. I don't look at none of these footballers as like role models because, to be fair, we don't know them. We don't know them like that. In terms of football, yeah, of course, you see them play 90 minutes. You can say, "Look, son, develop your game to be like Messi, or if you're a striker, be like Harry Kane. If you're a defender, look at how Vincent Kompany used to play, or whoever it was, Rio Ferdinand, whatever." That's where you want to mold your game on that as a footballer. And in society, we don't know them. Like, we know there's a man being quizzed, Premier League football is being quizzed for all sorts of stuff at the moment. We don't know them. So we can't say that these people are role models for us. And I agree with you. If he gets sent off, I'll just say, look, that happens in 50% of games across the football league every weekend. Don't worry about it. It's just one of them things. And it might happen to you one day, son. You might do a mad tackle and get sent off, but you know what? You got to bounce back from it. You just spin it around. But this whole Mitrovic thing, and I mean, it was like, look, in the eyes of the law, it's a red card, and like you can't.
Yeah.
They say you can't touch the ref and all that stuff.
enough.
But I remember we had a debate about this. I think it was Aguero a couple of years ago. It was a female. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what he done. Whether I think he just put his arm on the shoulder, and there was a massive outcry about that. I've seen it before where men have gone to men refs, and they've done worse. They've hugged the ref, or they've, do you know what I mean? They've done something like they've done what Mitrovic has done, or I think Fernandez done it a couple in the United match.
The linesman.
Yeah. It's just one of them things. Like, he hasn't assaulted him, he hasn't punched him, he hasn't pulled out a knife and tried to slash him up. Nothing. It's just part of the game. Is it not just part of the game?
And this is what I mean. And so in my head, the question I can't quite answer myself is, why do people say when they see a footballer on a football field playing a sport, doing something, you know, that is aggressive in a sport that promotes aggression, a contact sport to an extent, right? Why do people then say those actions are role models for kids, generally speaking?
I don't know, man. Me personally, like those things, I mean, this is the thing as well. Those kind of tackles, like we see, if anyone's ever gone to like grassroots or they've gone to like a lower league game, some of the tackles you see happening there are mad. And I'm talking mad. And sometimes they get away with it. They don't even get a yellow card for it. So I think maybe, is it because it's more in the limelight? Is it more that, I don't know, it changed the game for Fulham? I don't know. I don't even know the answers. But I just think sometimes people want to make issues out of something that isn't really an issue. It's just, oh, look at that. It's mental. Do you know what I was more outraged by? Marco Silva arguing the toss over a penalty that was a penalty, got himself sent off. Even Luis Morte couldn't understand what Marco Silva was arguing about. And he was next to him and he was like, why are you arguing it's a penalty? And then when he gets sent off, he's got to then go onto the pitch to take Mitrovic off before he does punch up the ref. Like, that all it tells me, there's a lack of discipline in and amongst that Fulham team, from the manager to the players. Because if the manager's getting sent off, there's clearly he hasn't got control, or he's lost control at that situation, not in terms of the whole club, but in terms of that situation. And Mitrovic, like you said, is a hothead. But when you've seen your gaffer get sent off, of course, you're going to go up to the ref and square up to him. Because you're thinking, well, my manager's been sent off. I'm going to square up to him and see what he's going to say. If he's really about that, I'm going to stick it on him. And the ref was just like, nah, get off. So, I don't know, man. They can't be wrong. Anyone who sees a footballer as a role model in society, like, could you name one? Name me 3 role models in football that you would say in society, not just as a footballer, but give me 3 where you'd say, oh yeah, they're who I would say, look, you know, go and be like him, aspire to be like him when you're older.
The thing is, the thing is, you can't, because, you know, there's a lot of guys, and women as well. I don't know women's football that well, but you might say that, like, let's say Rashford, for example, nice easy one. But then next week, and I'm sure this won't happen, but next week there could be the maddest thing that you see on Twitter that he's doing. Do you know what I mean? And it's the other thing as well about, it depends on what your morals are, right? Because let's say you don't believe in getting tattoos, right? Rashi scores, takes off his skirt, his shirt. Can't even bother edit that, leave that. Anyway, well, he takes off his
I'm not going to say it. Go on, sorry.
He takes off his shirt. It's got bare tattoos, yeah? Then what, is he a bad role model because he's got tattoos? You don't like tattoos? Like, he shouldn't be taking his shirt off because he's got, you know, a tattoo in memory of a rapper that he likes. You know, where does the line stop? Do you know what I mean? So, I just think it's an opportunity, right? The way that the world works and society works are, there are people that do good things and people that do bad things. And sometimes the people that do good things also do bad things and vice versa. Yeah? So if someone does something that you don't agree with, it's just your opportunity to say, yeah, look, this is what this guy has done, this person's done. You don't really do that. All this whole thing about, oh, you should be a role model, it's like, no, he's just a person who does good things sometimes and does bad things sometimes. And we just highlight, if you do something bad, sometimes you have to pay consequences. You're no angel. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, it's like what's it in Chris Rock's stand-up Tambourine when he says to his kids, in here, we love you, you're the best, but outside, you don't mean shit to no one. And it's just facts. Like, you're going to mess up. So it's an opportunity to have that conversation. But this whole thing, oh, ban him for 10 games and he's a role model and, you know, players should do this and that. And it's like, you know, you're just hating because of the P's. That's what it is. Just be honest and say it.
That's what it comes down to. Is that I was going to bring that up. It all comes down to the money, what they're paid, and all of that. And realistically, like, even that shouldn't even come into it. Like, for me personally, and even I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. So even your role model that you look up to will make mistakes. But to say that, like, someone, like, I've never understood that, where people say, oh, I'm trying to think of someone quickly, like, in my head. Like, you know what I mean? Like, someone that's on TV all the time. Oh, they're like, people say Ant and Dec, for instance, right? They'll say that Ant and Dec are like the role models for certain people. Do you know what I mean? Like, they use them as the face of things, and they're not role models. Who are they role models to? One of them licked down a girl in a car and then he killed her, and he's still on TV. So, how are these people classed as role models? They're probably not the best example, but the one that just sprung to mind. But you know what I'm talking about?
It's true. It's true, though. It's true what you're saying.
People that are not role models, we give them this title that they're role models, and, you know, look what they've done as in their careers, and Philip Schofield's another one. He's not a role model. He's far from a role model, but I guarantee you, people say, oh, but look what he's done for society, and look what he's done for this and that, and da-da-da. He hasn't done anything. In fact, he's done a lot of things that have been swept under the carpet. That's my point, that we don't know these people. So how can we say that they're role models? When I say role models, I think of me, I think of you, I think of my brother or my brothers. I think of their role model, and even they fuck up. You fuck up, I fuck up. But that you're a role model, I know that you're doing something, and I know you. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the ultimate thing. I know you. I think I know you, but I'm 99.9% sure I know you. So you're a role model to my kids. I'd be telling my kid, imagine I told my kid 10 years ago, oh, Dele Alli's a role model, you know, go follow him. Look at Dele Alli now. Like, imagine that. Imagine you telling your kids, oh, Dele Alli's, be like him. And now he's gone AWOL in Turkey and they can't find him, and he's taking pictures with Kim Kardashian's kids. That's not role model. Like, we don't know. I could use Thomas Partey, but I'm not going to do that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's people out there that people might say, oh, you know, he's got your, you know, you go and get his name on the back of your shirt. He's a role model. And then look what happens. Get accused of all sorts, and then you got to clear your name. And are they still a role model? It's a mad one. So, no, I don't think any footballer, any celebrity, all these Love Island people, none of them, they can't be role models for your kids or for your younger people coming up, because they're not. What are they teaching you? Goes back to the social media thing again, don't it? Like, what are they teaching you? To go on TikTok, Instagram,
slap on a post.
Yeah, mad, madness, man. What are you doing this weekend before we wrap up? What's your plan? You got any plans? No football this weekend, man, so it's a bit of a quiet one.
No, it is a quiet one. I'm trying to think. It's end of the month, innit? It's waiting for payday. I'm just going to be sitting there waiting for the clocks to go forward and waiting for payday.
Oh, shit, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think that's a whole other podcast here. Yeah, Sunday. So if you're listening to this before Sunday, mate, don't forget, and it's forward as well, yeah, so you'll be late for stuff.
Yeah, you'll lose an hour as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good point, man. I ain't got nothing, man. Like, that London trip literally killed me. Like, I slept most of the time I was in London, like, when I could. And then I came back and slept for, like, a good... I think I was asleep by, like, 8:30 last night. Woke up at 8 o'clock this morning. Yeah, man.
Do you know for next time, actually, I do this at the end and then we never revisit stuff. I want to talk about napping, because I'm hearing there's a lot of things coming up, but we're going to save that. We're going to save that anyway for next time.
Like sleeping.
Huh?
Napping is in sleeping.
Yeah, like taking naps in a day and all of that. But
Oh, no. I don't do that. You do that?
do you know what? I'm hearing different stuff. I wanna, as they say at work, have a deep dive into it, yeah, and
Wait.
see.
Are you telling me you have naps in the day? No.
I have, but it's not a regular thing.
I can't believe that. What? No. No. You can't be doing them things there, man. Even if
Let me bring it back. I'll bring it back. Next episode, we'll put it at the top. We'll come back to it.
some madness, man. But yeah, man, that's just, you keep throwing in these little curveballs, man. First it was rugby, now it's taking naps in the day and all that, man.
That's what this is about, isn't it?
Yeah, man. But yeah, season 1, episode 2. Socials are all linked in the description, or they should be. If they're not, then I'm not doing my job properly. But yeah, if they're not, then I'll make sure they're there for this episode as well. So make sure you go and follow all the socials. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel now as well. Give all those things a like. Make sure you hit up the Spotify podcast, Apple Podcasts as well. We appreciate all of that as well. And we'll be back next week with another episode. This has been episode 2, man. We're going to call this one Social Influences. So make sure you give it a listen. Let us know your thoughts as well in the comments. And we're out.